So I'm sharing my screen as well. I hope you can see. If you cannot, feel free to put it in chart. I'll take a look. So today, as you can see, the second session covers few topics. We already did few this week, last Sunday or last Saturday actually, to cover the day one items, right? So what we covered that day, let's recap quickly. That was how even ThinkSabio started, what ThinkSabio is covering, and what are SEC transactions, what are quarterly filings, and how those reports look. And we went into and was able to find a stock which could be worth investing based on this SEC reports, which we receive information based on 1 to 10 days of once the purchase or the sell is done, right? And also we looked into some ISR report wherein you will be able to go and look into the details how far it is valid or performing well based on the information of the filings from so many quarters, right? Provided you know which symbol to look for. So in short, we looked into few reports wherein some were helping us to find a potential stock that can be good for our investment, right? And the another one was, well, I know few stocks already. What, where do we stand, or how data is looking? If at all, I have to look for those symbols. Those are the two things we covered. Now we will cover few more topics. I hope you have the day two session topics. If not, I'll go one by one. So apart from data, ThinkSabio is covering little few items. So this is my universe, wherein you can create your own alerts, etc., etc. Everything is self-explanatory. We don't need someone to sit through and walk through. But honestly, will you need to know, okay, these features exist, something like that, right? So on that note, if you go to my universe, you can add up to 6 portfolios. I did not do it, but I believe based on size, message, and everything I read and I get some knowledge. So I believe it is 6 portfolios. So you can give a name, a portfolio one. I'm just making it up, and you can add any number of stocks, maybe Apple. Okay, Apple, maybe 10 shares, 100 is my average cost. This is like maintaining your portfolio, or if you have a bunch of them at once, you can add them and etc. etc. It takes it, price changes dollar, so you made some $10, etc. etc. It just picks based on yesterday's pricing, etc. Right? Like that, you can do any number of stocks and any number of portfolios. Why this is useful? If you see, one topic is health check, right? If you go to health check, by institution, how they are looking. Okay, well, this is what the values looks like. This is what it is. By sector, okay, Apple, technology, you put 100% whatever allocation you have given so far, right? If in your portfolio, technology has 100% allocation. By institutions, 21% is done basically. How many institutions are there? Maybe more than 7,000, 6,000 plus is what ThinkSabio has as of now. So when you compare them, they are allocating around 20%. And we talked about hedge funds in the first session. So according to them, they are allocating 20%. So it is giving you some clue. Well, if you want to have some standards, and irrespective of markets, right? 2020 different scenario, 2021 altogether different scenario, 2022 started off with a little rough phase as of now, to be very honest. So in any kind of circumstances, if you want to survive and move on, there should be always some discipline or some calculation. So if you see those, they are around this area, then I am at this area. Is it making sense to me, right? When things go other way, that's when we feel this is a wrong allocation. That's how it helps. Or even by favorite institution, what it means is we talked about many things, like which institute could do good. All of our friends are there. everybody's interests are different. I might be good at real estate, another friend could be good at finding electronics. But when we combine both of us, if you take our skill set, we par in one or the other higher compared to the other one, right? So similarly, when you have any favorite institute, you can tie that, and then it will tell how he is doing. He is actually having 427 and Q3 almost same. Oh well, this is what it is. So this makes more sense, when you have more tickers and etc. But how to do it? I just gave you a simple sample. Okay, this is portfolio. You can add them, you can track them, you can put any number of symbols, any number of portfolios, and you can combine them as well. All combined, all portfolios combined at once. If you do another portfolio, then you'll get a combined sheet. It's all self-explanatory. You just have to play around. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing, the next topic will be like Dow reports. Market is slum or market is good. In either of the cases, we are always confused what to look for. Hey, what stocks could be the ones I could be looking for? So that's where I use these reports, wherein you have uptrend report. Let me duplicate it. And I have downtrend report. So what it is telling, yes, there are 10,000 plus stocks. They will be in this, but this is where we play around with the filters and get what we really looking for, right? Okay, I'm looking only within certain margin, certain sector, certain things, etc., etc., etc. You can play around. Basically, now everyone is saying energy is strong. Energy is strong since so many days. If you do that in 4 weeks, energy, you get bunch of tickers. But when you play around with the pricing, you know what, I don't care about $500 ticker. All I'm looking for is maybe minimum 25 and max $50 stocks, something like that. Are there any? So what happens, this reports, what I use is, well, I'm able to try to find what are the stocks that are performing even in this bad market, even in this bad market. So 20 stocks, this is how you'll be able to find few of the good stocks which are performing. This is 4 weeks. Yes, a lot of stocks might be trending, but if you really go for ninth week, okay, there is nothing energy up to that point. So maybe you go to eighth week. Are there any? So nothing as such. So what I am going to do is, okay, when I go to eighth week, see, only few stocks are for only 4 stocks are for me. This is energy stock or BHP, probably I thought energy, but you know so clearly, okay, this stock is performing or holding up well in a very very noisy market. That means there is something. Otherwise, yes, it will also get dumped like any other stock. So that's when you can figure out, okay, these are the stocks, few stocks that I can keep on my watch list and take a shot. Or, both short term plays, long term plays, depending on other factors of how the counts are looking or how the business of the stock itself. Am I able to understand the business of the stock? Then I can take a shot. So these are the stocks which are uptrending, even in downtrend market, especially if you go to fourth week, you play around, maybe, $10 to $20, and maybe any technology or any real estate, or within this, we are thinking banks are doing good, maybe any banks, etc., etc., etc. Depends on so many factors. If you see now with the filter, out of so many stocks, I was able to get only 4 stocks. Okay, is this good? Is this good? Why it could be? You'll be able to find out. And also, so many factors you can lay out with your current situations and make a uh, conclusion. Okay, this could be stocks I'm willing to. And this is where I spend some time, because there are a lot of stocks. You have to find a potential one. Right? This is uptrend. Similarly, downtrend. You are looking downtrend market. We have this is how market works, right? The stock which is not showing strength, that means more people are willing to sell. And when it is going down, even a person like who is confident, he might think, well, looks like I made a wrong decision in my investment, I'll sell it as well. That's the reason, it keeps going down, drowning down. So market is weak and stocks are weak, then you can short them, or you can play puts, etc., This is another report which helps. How you gonna play around is, you take. Whereas if you see uptrend, 9 weeks, some stocks were going up, and that too you will find only few stocks once you keep moving above sixth week. And in a downtrend market, see, since 19 weeks, 17, 15 weeks, stocks are continuously going down. That means almost since 4 to 5 months, there is a stock that is going down continuously, week over week. That's a big information. You'll be able to find a set of stocks so that you can make decisions of long investment, short investment, shorting a stock, going for puts, going for calls, etc., etc. That's how this report will be helpful, and it's very exciting because when you see this, you will be able to tell where market is moving, where exactly which stocks market are moving. You will never get a perfect top, perfect bottom, but as long as you can ride that wave along the market, irrespective of market conditions, we have a chance to make some money. That's Dow reports. Again, the more we research, the more we sit, the more we learn, the more effective the output is. Just trying to follow someone, well, there is a gap always, right? So like that, this report, self-explanatory, again, I like it, and I use a lot as well. Okay, apart from that, there is something called compare institutions, compare symbol. Why is that, right? Let's go. When you go to search, there are only two places where you can know and figure out, oh, symbols, what is it telling? Trending stock, what is it telling? What is it telling? Everything is explanatory. The word and the report itself is self-explanatory. We have to dive in and find. You might have some requirement, you will be able to find it. Let's say you don't find it, you put it out there, TS admins or SAI, you might look into it. So now going back to the topic, we covered my universe, we covered the reports, but compare institutions. Okay, here it is, compare institution. Why I have to compare? Let's say you are my friend, I am here, and bunch of other friends are also there. Like we spoke, each has their own capabilities and strengths. But let's think, two of us are looking at, and at some point invested into the same stock or did the same real estate deal. Why did we do that? And we never spoke, or whatever the scenario, right? That means, okay, some positiveness we saw with respect to that action. That's the reason we both made similar kind of decision. So the reason you can compare is, I'm just picking some institute. Over a time, you will get to know more institute if you really pay attention to the content, right? So I'm just picking this too, and I said, okay, I submitted. So here you can play around with quarters. So much information is there, depends on what you are doing. Quarter 3 2021, because as if you attended first session, as I told you, once quarter ends, we'll get the data within 1 to 45 days. So Q3 ended. When Q3 ended by November, initial first part of November, this data has come, it is displayed. Okay. Now you took Q3 2021, right? So 2 quarters. Now if you see 152 entries, that means 76 stocks are common between these two investors. You add another one, you'll get a combination of those three. How many are in common? You add another one, combination of 4. So out of this, well, out of 76 entries, I don't care about what they're reducing. If you see, they reduce a little bit in Microsoft, Amazon, Google, etc., etc., etc. But I said to myself, I don't care all that. Let me see what they bought newly. And you know what newly bought is if you attended first session. As I said, we can only do few actions on a stock. Either you can buy it newly, or you can sell it existing one, or you can reduce a little bit an existing one, or either you can increase a little bit on an existing one, or you don't do no action. That's a no change. So those are the status, right? Obviously, if you click here, increased, reduced, no change, newly bought, sold off. So on that note, I might be curious. You know what? Forget about what I was done in the past. I want to make money from here. So what could be my best bet? Okay, what is newly bought? If you see, they only have 2 stocks. Had you gone through this for whatever reason, had you looked into it, right? Okay, now you got 2 good investors and newly bought these 2 stocks. If you take the scenario, one performed well, one is tanking. Okay, so how can I choose it? Well, if I saw this report and I choose DNA and it is tanking. I mean, maybe at some point it might have performed even after data is received. I have to go and check the graph or the chart, whatever, right? But that's where I told you what are the stocks that are performing. If you are getting into a performing stock, you are getting money on the spot, right? When I say on the spot, in a short term, you're getting, and the amount of chunk you can make is only little bit because considering you made sure you want to get into an uptrending stock and you made sure that the scenario of the market and everything is giving you some direction. When you do that, well, you can miss the initial entry of a thing and you get a certain chunk of, but you're trying to get onto the right train, right? So that will help you. And how to find that, we just spoke about it. So like that, you can always make a right choice. So this is like comparing institution. You put another one, maybe Warren Buffett Institute, get the commonality. There could be any, there may not be any, right? But over a period of time, if you know, okay, in the energy sector where these people are investing, you want to see out of five good people, well, put it and get the stock. You can do a combinations, instead of newly bought, maybe where they have really increased, because this is a positive sign too, right? Increase is a positive sign, newly bought is a positive sign. So if you see here, you are getting 8 stocks. Since the entries are 16, I made it as 8 stocks. What it could be. The moment I see DE performed very good in recent times, if I'm not wrong, right? The rest all, T-Dog, Piton, they tanked. They tank like anything. So as I said, they are tanking. If you are a long-term investor and if you have faith, abundance of faith on the company, you will take the cheap price, right? Many thought, oh, 2020, I did not enter. Maybe anybody on this call, half of them might have thought 2020 March downfall, I did not enter. After the fact, yes, we know that March 2020 was the downside, and from April it picked up. So similarly, you believe in a company, you see potential, yes, you have to go for it. Some decision of yours will be right, some will be wrong. At the end, as long as we are more right, money is flowing into our account. So like that, you'll be able to figure out and find what are the combinations. Similarly, we are doing something called what is the compare symbols itself. You know, we talked about symbols. See, you have a bunch of symbols, but sometimes we get confused. Hey, I have PLTR, I have CrowdStrike, I have something else. What should I invest? Well, first thing, you're not comparing same business, so the goals could be very different. But as long as you have comparison between two, maybe airlines, the B. I'm just taking these ones, but you can pick anything: CrowdStrike, FSLY, Net, which are around different kinds of cyber place, or ZS, Zscaler. It's similar to cyber security of CrowdStrike or etc. Right? So, what could be the best bet between these two? Something like when you want to compare, you can use that compare and see it. What it is telling you is it is more or less similar to ISR report, but refined and giving only what are the counts looking like between them, and what could be the possibilities of price upside movement considering towards their 52-week highs. Basically 52-week high maybe 200, now 100. That means you have 100% potentiality to see that price, right? 100% it can gain if you consider 52-week. Whether it will go or not, that's a different story, but you know that that kind of parameters you are getting, and you are comparing against institutions. Here, if I open it right away, I know, oh, 2,000 people invested versus 1,000 people. Not necessarily 2,000 is good, but companies sometimes are standard, like Apple. It will give you something. SPY. People say, hey, just go and invest in SPY. You will get little of return. I mean, a little return is guaranteed, right? Over a period of time, you will do better, right? Yeah, we prefer that we invest certain amount depending on the amount, like that. Hedge funds, how hedge funds are doing. If you see, 6 people are there, whereas 4 people are there here, right? So, okay, we talked who are hedge funds and how many we are considering. 10 people we are considering, and out of that, 6 people put money here, 4 people. Okay, is giving you some information, and then the counts along with the information. These two tables combined together. It's cumulative. Either you refer that or directly jump into this. So like that, everything has meaning. How the shares are looking. If you see, both shares are reduced by little bit in the previous quarters. This is always a comparison between Q2 3 2 versus Q3 basically. Tomorrow Q4 comes, Q3 versus Q4. That's the comparison, right? Like that. Same with the hedge funds. How their hedge fund uh, investment looking like, whether they are increasing, decreasing, etc., etc., etc. But bottom line, this is for compare stocks to get a quick view. But we talked in length how to do it for an individual stock like PA in the first session itself, right? We talked about it. Okay, this is called individual statistical report, wherein you get everything, recent SEC transactions or recent investments, etc., 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 to give a nice view of it. How 10 weeks are looking like. Even with the price, you can tell right now, okay, 200 to it's around 200 range. When somebody asks, whether I can invest, you can make decision by seeing this. Well, this is performing on this to this basis. You can go by month also. What it is telling you, the 200 price is holding. Just by seeing this, I didn't have to do anything. Just by seeing this 200 price is holding. Now all you need to do is whether is the market positive for this kind of stock, and what the stock really does. Am I seeing my goal as long term or short term? Whether it fits to my goals based on the current trend. That is it. You can make a decision. You don't need anybody to tell anything once you have these reports, etc. That is comparing symbol. You compared a symbol, you compared institution. Okay, two people, what they have done. Three people together, what they are doing. Five people together, which I think good investment companies, what they are doing when they fly five combined together. Is there any commonality, common symbol coming out of it? Something like that. Okay. So so far we talked how you can use my universe. Either you can use for portfolio, adding and viewing it, etc., etc., playing around, and you can do alerts also. The alerts basically you can put based on SEC 13G, so many things, right? Alert name, you can put something. What I hold in my portfolio, something I want to get an alert. By default, if you put anything in my universe, which is nothing but your portfolio, they will send out an alert when SEC transaction is happening. As I told you, SEC transaction is nothing but anything that is reported between last 1 to 10 days of their purchase, which we covered extensively in the first session. Like that, you can put anything. Maybe your favorite institution is Warren Buffett. If he does some transaction, let me know. Something like that. He buys whenever. I mean, he hardly gets into a position. He hardly gets out. So it could be rare, but I'm just giving him as an example. Like that, share activities, whether increased, decreased, or all, depends. You can create some alerts, right? So we covered my universe. We covered how to find some uptrending stocks, downtrending stocks. We looked into how you can compare, etc., between institutions and symbols. But the most favorite part, which I love, or which you can get the best performing long-term picks are, I love this report quarterly, right? As I said, we get quarterly some data, quarterly ultimate reports. As the name suggests, ultimate. How this can be used? As I said, you make your filters and make your life easy. You can put any price, okay? Maybe whatever price we think that is eligible for our investment. You can pick whatever. Some people like energy stocks because they have learned, they are working in it, etc. Some like technology, some like oil companies, etc., etc., etc. So many things based on their work experience or investment interest, etc. Right? So you can play around, but when data comes in, then I will look for okay, any sector, and I will put increase of shares or increase of count basically. Okay, what I meant by that is, here if you see 1.38% count is there. It's a slight because it's Microsoft, but there could be something. Let's go minimum count 50%. Okay, and the minimum price of the stock is $50. Let's see if we find anything. Bunch of them are there, right? And here if you see, some could be like they change the companies, etc., or some overlap of the symbols, etc. That's why you might see some junk data also. But if you see here, we got some names. Maybe they are not something I don't recognize most of them except for a DOCN. When you put this, you are getting 115% institute have increased between one quarter to another. And here UPST increased 245 to 430. So when you got this data, okay, on November, etc. So this is what the scenario is. All we need to do is, you have to connect the dots. They could have done it between last couple of months. How the price trend of the stock has grown. If it has not grown by huge amounts, then my risk is very less taking a position into the stocks. But let's say there is huge risk, huge upside already taken, then you have to take a caution and take it easy, or keep it on your watch list, or or go with very 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 less amount as initial investment. That way, that gives you cushion of your any wrong decision. For example, UPST has grown a lot, right? Between that July to October, September, it has grown a lot. By the time you received, this has already performed very well. So that in that kind of scenarios, you will take a cost. And also, as I said, apart from this info, whether the stock is performing or not, whether the market is strong or not, as long as you get an answer for that, right, you will be able to take a timely decision for that particular period. But on a long term basis, as I said, you need to believe in the company, and the risk and investment size also should be according. So now you will be able to make up, in some information like this. Like this, you can go for six quarters. What is happening? I did something and 6 quarters came up. What is this? This is nothing but in these 6 quarters, quarter over quarter, the interest from funds has been increasing. 8 became 22, 22 became 41, 90, 153, 232, etc. etc. Why this will be very helpful to find long term, right? Let me remove the filters. You can play any filters. For demo, I can only show quickly something and go through it, how to play around. So I'm doing that. But let's say I did 10. If you see here, count. Or as I said, it's everything is self. All institutes count consistently increased. Basically, you see 1325, 1371, 15, 17, 18, 2000, 2200, 2200, 2400, etc. etc. This is count. If you are looking only for shares, what it means is shares are like 10 shares, 20 shares, 30 shares, 40 shares, something like that. If you go to shares, it will show up. Let's go there to make our life. You see here counts are given simply between 2 quarters, but shares in length it is given. How the shares are moving, month over, quarter over quarter, quarter over quarter, quarter over. So now, why I believe in this is, rather than shares, if the interest from so many people is coming in, I always like to see, okay, what could be the worth investment. Here, if you see here, Nvidia is there. Nice, great companies will be there. That's the thing. You have to find some stock early in your stage with the help of this data. See, 10 quarters increasing, maybe 4 quarters increase also. You will be able to see the stock. You'll be able to read the business, and you can tie the reach based on the people who invested into it, based on the quantity they have invested into it, and the result will be based on the market conditions also, right? But over a long term, these stocks work. That's why you have 2500 people in Nvidia, and it did not happen or raise overnight. If you had invested 10 quarters, which is almost uh, 2-3 years back also, right, it's a big win. It had its own fluctuations, etc. But over a period of time, you'll be able to. But if you see here, 10 quarters, these are the stocks they are performing. You can play around with, n number of filters. The best example I want to give is, maybe, both. If I do both, I'm not sure which stocks come. Shopify used to come. Let me see, Shopify, if it comes. I'm not sure. Okay. So let me go to count, and let me go to 12 quarters. See, 12 is the max. You can change this, go back in dates and see. If you see here, Shopify is there. See, today we know Shopify is a growing company, right? But back then itself, when it was in 2018, you see how they are performing. And now you can go and check. We always worry when stock goes down. That's the nature of the market. But You can take this period. Okay, hey, this guy is telling this might work, right? Okay, to do some back testing, my DD, quarter four, between quarter four to this 5-6 periods, counts have doubled, tripled almost, right? I mean, not double, tripled. I mean, it's 50%, 60%, 70% increase. How the stock behaved? Did it ever always stay up, or did it have its own fluctuations? But at the end of the day, today, is it a winner or not? You can calculate for this period. Same thing happened. If my point is, if ThinkSabio was existing and these reports were existing, we could have easily got into great companies like Tesla, uh, Shopify, or Facebook, anything. We know them today because they are performing well, right? But we could have got into those companies well in advance, because data will give you clear confidence how the counts have been increasing. If it misses by even one, tomorrow let's say this 2511 becomes 2510, even by one, it will not fall under this category, because it has to increase consistently. That means it is seeing some strength. There are people who are really believing in these companies, different sectors, different uh, 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 industry stocks. You can find, no matter what, you go anything, you will be able to find different stocks. I did 8, maybe I'll do 12. You might find some stocks. You see here, ENPH. Okay, I'm just picking this as of now for explanation, right? ENPH, when I joined ThinkSabio, right, I don't know much about stock market, but I started off, this was identified, and it was identified at $22 or $28, something between that price, 22 to 28. Okay. Shopify, I don't think they ever mentioned. I mean, it's a good stock, we all know, but it might have not been recommended. Like, okay, we can take a look because of the price or whatever it could be. But APPS, it was identified when it was around 25, right? Dava stock is identified when it is. I myself use this data and identified around $38 this stock. Today it's around 172 is the high. Right now it's sitting at 130 in this market. If you see 38 to 172 or 38 to $130, I was able to find the stock myself when I started off using ThinkSabio by seeing these numbers only. And also, of course, I saw the business, but it was moving very slow. 38 to 40, 45. It took like 6 months. But today it gave 3-4x along with all other stocks, the stocks which were running during pandemic. Along with them, all other stocks, this also gave money, similar kind of money. So that's the beauty when you try to find this kind of stocks. You see here CRWD identified at 45. How? With the help of same data only, right? But when it is really in initial phases. And at the end of the day, performance of markets or business or anything, you take gold market, gold has to perform, otherwise your asset, if you buy gold, it will go down if market is down. Real estate, you buy a lot of properties, land or apartment or villas or anything, if market itself for real estate is down for few years, yes, it is down. That's exactly is happening right now in the market. But as long as market is holding up and market picks up, and eventually it's a bull market at any given day, right? So then your stocks will perform. I here myself see 4-5 stocks: Nvidia, CRWD, ENPH, APPS, out of 9 stocks. And if you open data, Shopify is no brainer. If ThinkSabio was existing, we could have caught Shopify at $40. I can bet on it, right? Because you go 12, right? Forget about 12. I will go here, maybe 23, and see what stocks are coming. See what I did. I went back to 2019, and I'm going from there some 2-3 years, 4 years back, right? What stocks are you getting? Ac- Accenture, Adobe, Microsoft, Shopify. You see, and what they have done. So what I'm saying is, if you were in 2016, almost 2016, right, you could have got, or maybe further down, I don't know if data is there, but 2016, these are the names you could have found it, saying that I want to invest here, whether you will invest with respect to price or whatever conditions. But over a period, they stood out as the top winners in their industries. That's exactly what we need. That's exactly what. Now, ServiceNow, look at this, right? We were using ServiceNow, but sitting right in front of you as one of the nice contender that can run, right? Similarly, even today, whatever you use, forget about the past, right? Whatever you use, that's so 2 years back with the help of this data. That's how great winners like C Limited, CRWD, ENPH, many more in EV sector or many more are caught. At the same time, market has also to act along with us. So this is the favorite report I play around. I can do both shares and counts. Nothing is there. Maybe we remove filter. Maybe we'll find something. See, you found something. What are those stocks, etc. Some ETFs related. That's why, because it's both shares and counts. Even if you miss by one share or one count, things will change. So this is a favorite report. When I get quarterly reports tomorrow, I'll just play around. I'll just play around. Okay, what has increased? I'll go back 4 5 quarters, 6 quarters, 7 quarters. If anything interesting, we can find it. I'm very confident you can find it. You can do 8 quarters. Shares and both, right? You have some stocks. You can put your own filters, your own pricing. Definitely, it will cut short your search and also find you good stocks that can perform, which can perform slow and steady and eventually win the market. Can be a names that can win in the market. Bill, you read it, you see this counts increase, that gives you confidence. 109 to 215. You go and check. Well, it might have downside, upside, all kinds. And also remember, as I told you, right? When these institutes are adding, when these institutes are adding, even before we are able to witness the magic, that uptrending stocks or downtrending stocks are giving you clear picture of the strength of stock when it's performing, and that will tell you whether you can get in or not. That's another way you can also find quickly. Another way which we discussed in the first session is SEC transaction by itself will give you confidence that on a day to, 1 to 10 days they report. So it will give you some direction also where these investments are going. On a overall, when I'm sitting on this tool, spending some time, I will get different ideas. I got in the past, I get it now. I'm very confident I can do much better in the future. Of course, at the end of the day, market also has to show us some direction. So as long as we play with that direction, highly likely it is possible. I need a tool. I need some info where I can analyze, put my thoughts, and gather with the help of all the social media or many resources out there today. It's easy to do our own work and put our money where we are confident rather than where somebody else is confident. Okay, that covers mostly what day two has. My universe alerts, some uptrending stocks, downtrending stocks, how you can compare yourself between some institutions, how they are handling, or between few symbols, how they look like, how the health check. We talked about health check. Once you add to portfolio, you can go to health check and get some. And the beauty, long term finding great stocks, this ultimate report, right? With that note, I'll open so that everybody can speak. If you have any questions, I'll address it with respect to these topics or anything you have. Okay, you can speak. Everybody has access to speak, or you can put it in chat. I'll try to look at them and see if I can able to answer. Okay, any questions? Okay, Raj has one question. If we select week 6, does it mean it's data for last 6 weeks? Yeah, that's correct, Raj. Where can we get old recordings? You can get it on YouTube channel. ThinkSabio has their own YouTube. You just go to their YouTube and then go to the playlist. You have all the playlists about new Joinee session, about crypto, about technical analysis, or any investing tips that Sai keeps identifying, or shortcut videos where they talk about do not panic, or whatever the tips given by great investors, all that. And as Sai mentioned, and the information is they will eventually move that to the website saying some TS university or some drop down in this wherever they plan. So eventually everything is on the website itself for us to view all the videos and any education material like indicators or yeah, so much info. Uday has a question. Sorting order in the current screen. Yeah, this is always by institution. I think right now I took shares and everything, right? This number, based on this number, Q3 number of institutes, basically based on that it is sorted. But you have here, if you are seeing my screen, you can play around as per your need. You can play around. But right now, by default, it is done for this such result. It's done always by the Q3 counts.
Yeah, Ashwin here. A question here. In this multi-quarter report, when you're running actually for the last 8 quarters, 12 quarters and all, right, is there any consistent way of identifying, for example, say, it might have went up for the last 12 quarters, but probably next quarter or following quarter, probably it may come down. If I wanted to really identify the growing pattern, is it better to look for, 3 or 4 quarters versus 12 quarters?
No, I just showed an example because I picked 12 quarters because I cannot bring Shopify. If I show how Shopify has increased, for example, right from their 2016, etc., and see the performance over time, you can correlate, okay, this pattern worked in the past, this pattern might work in the future. So definitely we want to identify what is the latest. Okay, in this current 4 quarters, am I able to find something that has been increasing with the help of filters? If you put like this, you will get lost. The help of filters, is it something catching my eye? Then we can take a shot. You can put, this percentage increase also. Is it anything higher? Instead of just maybe 30%. Is there anything actually? I don't know, but I'm just trying. Okay, there are something 220 to 320. You see this? So these names all are there. But what happened? The stock has grown so much already, right? And market is tanking, growth is taking a hit. So as I explained in that earlier, when this is happening, when you're seeing these numbers, that's definitely promising. However, what market is doing, you have to take a decision based on that. Quick returns or short term, 1 month, 2 month, 5 months, 6 months. But if it's a long term goal, then it's the business and then it's your confidence and your planning. Like we spoke. Yeah, you can put it to short and then find names, because these are the ones that can become the long, that 12 quarter, 20 quarter, 15 quarter, whatever, like Nvidia, Shopify, CRWD, ENPH, etc., etc., etc. in future.
Thanks, P. Now, one other question actually. So you put actually the 30% increase, right? So in a strategically, do you guys actually, or do you personally look for any kind of such filters? Say like, what? Okay, I want to look at only last 4 quarters with 20% increase or 30% increase in the last quarter and all.
Yeah, I think good question. As I said, there is no end. My ability is looking at whatever way I showed you today, right? I showed all of you today. This is my personal way of how I could have read into or deep dived into this data. But yes, now if you see here, 115. First place, I always go for big number. What is 200 I'll put. If nothing is coming, I know clearly 200 is not there, but I still have. But you see here the number 3 to 10. This is out of my way. Like this is not really a significant. That's why you can put minimum count. I need 50. 100 or etc. I think one other thing, when I'm doing this, I quickly got an idea. Minimum count can also be on Q2 label also. If they put it, I can put Q2 label as minimum 50, because now if you put 50 here, it will be 50, for example, right? So yes, you can put different labels and see. There's nothing 200% when I go for that. Maybe then I'll go with 100%. But right now, I do not have anything on my mind that, okay, maybe 50 is a ballpark range where you can put it and it will give the best output. At least I did not do that. But this is how I play. Okay, where it is telling me real growth, etc. Now, if you pick this, 28 to 32, etc., how they did year to date, etc., they are down, right? Especially, this is just 2 weeks data. So like these are the numbers. This is looking promising to me. All I need to do now is, yes, I got this DOCN. What DOCN is doing, what is my goal, what is current market situation, and take a chance. That is
Makes
it.
sense. Yeah. Hey, thanks so much.
So I have a few questions here. Yeah, I think Nancy Pelosi, that kind, I think Sai is working. It's not available yet on the website regarding the congressmen or Congress related, politics related data is not there. But eventually, I think he will be getting that on the website. Okay, this is something related to the evergreen picks. Yes, I think it was not touched, but if you followed the chart, I know it's difficult to follow the chart because of too much talk. But what it was reported is they're trying to clean up, and they are also trying to come up with the little different way or design for the our picks. How soon? Yes, it takes time, but yes, that's the update. The report of towards how much percent they own in each sector. Yeah, that is there, Harish. The question is, if you saw earlier when I showed you health check, all percentage allocation towards technology was 20%, right? Like that, definitely some report will be there. Let me see, quarterly. Yeah, this sector-wise allocation. If you take all institution, right? All institution, if you take, when I say all institution, 7,000 people, basic materials, how, I mean, each quarter is given, but I think you can go with this Q3. So if you see here and sort it, maybe. So it's a finance, technology, healthcare, etc., etc., etc. So that's how
Yes,
they
thank
have
you.
divided. So yeah, I know this is like new Joinee session. A lot of people were very excited, right? Eventually, only whoever joined recently will be on that our call. Uh, I just a small point, this I started off with zero knowledge, but if you pay attention and you are interested, this data and everything interests me actually, to see what could be the next big one, what could be the next big company. So I spend good time and keep learning. But if you are excited, it will really help you to make nice decision. Okay. And another thing I want to talk, which was not planned in day one, day two, is this trending stocks. How I use is, this is trending. Definitely, if I want quick money, yeah, I have to put where money stocks are moving. Yes, there is a risk, there is a reward. You don't want to touch this, then you have to find some stocks which are stable, right? Every trading personality, I mean, investment strategy, risk mentality, everything changes. But one thing, if you want to use this, these are trending means that is definitely as some news or something is happening right now, and some, of course, some are pump and dump. So I come here, I see, I definitely make, I mean, if they're popping again and again, because I'm seeing every day, and of course I see only top of this. Okay, then it catches my eye. Okay, from this, let me see if anything catches. Maybe not from anything from here, but okay, if something is popping again and again every day for a little percentage, so my observation has been it will explode sooner or later. Okay, it will explode. So also another way I do is, I put one here, because it brings me all the SEC transactions related stocks. If you see here, all the SEC, irrespective. And I put one, at least one present, means it will give everything. So indirectly, what it is telling you is anybody who recently invested, and these are the stocks. Anybody recently invested. We talked about SEC transaction. I hope you all remember 1 to 10 days of transactions. So once they have done, here 3 people invested, and this is trending. Is it worth taking a risk for today or even for next 1 week, 2 week, 1 month? Is something based on the stock and based on what really is triggering that move, will help. Okay, how do I know why it is moving? That's where we have news channel, right? All you have to do is go there, put a dollar and a symbol, and you'll get all the news related to that stocks since long time. That will help you to decide whether it's trending. And of course, TS and TS admins are posting the reasons of the trending stocks for few. They cannot cover all. That is giving some insight as well. But this is where you can use one or the other way to able to figure out what is moving, what could be the play, and what could be the reason. And then you can decide based on our risk appetite. Okay. And jumping on to few more questions. How often these reports are refreshed? So Ashwin, if you followed the entire session, each report is different, right? One is we get on a daily basis. We completely covered all this information in 1 and 2 sessions, but we get on a daily basis, we get on a quarterly basis, so weekly basis, Dow reports are weekly, right? SEC reports are daily, quarterly reports are quarterly. So everything varies depending on which report you are looking at. Okay. To find trending stock for last 3, 5, 7 days. Yeah, these are 5 days trending stocks, right, Amar? If you want to go and do, but this will give you a comparison between Jan 3rd versus today. That's it, as of now, which is nothing but yesterday. So now I did uh, Jan 3rd versus today. What are the stocks that have performed? If you see here, okay, and since I put SEC 13DG1, those are the stocks coming. But if you remove, you'll get the entire other list also. If you see here, one transaction, 209% increase in last 2 weeks. So there are always stocks that move, my friend. But whether we catch it or not, as I said, even if you don't catch the bottom or the top, if you can stay in between, if you can get the pie in between, that's good enough. So another stock which has a SEC trend performed 97%, another one 64, blah, 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 blah. It keeps on going, right? And if I remove this, if I remove that filter, so this is basically what was on Jan 3rd versus today, basically in 2 weeks, okay? But if you, I mean, if Amar has an idea, hey, you know what, get me some other filter, you have to request and they will think through. And if it making sense, we can add. But yeah, from Jan 3rd, but highest one was with the SEC transaction, 209%. Some other stock moved, 100, 197, this one 64, etc. So on, so on. So these stocks are performed. They don't have big counts, right? They don't have big counts if you see here. That's why these are very risky to enter. They give money, but these are the ones flying. When people tell, hey, I called it, we get so much FOMO. But at the end of the day, they are very risky. But where you have SEC transaction, if you can identify, if you can stay on top of them, these are very recent. These have been done within 1 to 10 days of their reported dates, right? You'll be able to easily identify what could be the our decision, basically. Okay, maybe I can take a shot at this, definitely considering this guy. Let's see here what it is, basically. Somebody invested 2.8 million shares. It was reported on 22nd November, right? And the result has come in next couple of months. So based on my observations, once SEC is reported, by the time we realize the movement is done, that 100%, 200% moves are done. So to be safe, I keep that aside. Unless it is trending again and again, it can see huge move. A $5 stock can go to $30 stock. One example, I'll pull it up. Another thing based on my observation is once they are received, right, within next 1 to 3 months, they have performed well to give at least 50% returns. The reasoning for me, what I thought is, if they invest, if the bids don't go up, right, even institute don't make money. So there is some mechanism, they load it, and one day they explode. Again, that's my takeaway. It is not reality. But based on observation I have done again and again, I was able to figure that out. So now let me see if ISIG is in upward or downward. Okay, this is downward, so it won't come in gainers, but in decliners it would. But this stock, okay, if you go to any SEC reports, which we talked about, right? Okay, let me go to ISIG. Because on Friday it ended decliner, it will be in decliners. Okay, so this had one transaction. So this transaction came around 15th October. I saw this trending again and again. Actually, it was trending most of the times, trending for a couple of days. Then I quickly saw, and I reported also in our chart and everything. I reported when it was $6, literally at $6. I don't know it will reach to $35. I don't know that, but based on the trending pattern and etc., I felt it is comfortable one to report, right? So I said, hey, I'm looking at this. This feels like it can be a runner. and it did go within next 1-2 weeks to $35. All you have to do is find that kind of stocks, couple of them. Even if it's 6 to 9, we are a winner. But some do exceptionally well when things like this are reported. Even a small transaction reported, and it is trending and it is forming a continuous uptrend base, it will explode. Those are some things you can look at based on your experience. If you keep using reports, you will definitely get a few ideas how to find it, or what could be my name that I can invest basically out of this patterns running. Okay, with that, I wanted to cover within 1 hour of the time given to me, right? So that way we all have a better plan for the time. So that's those folks. If you are interested or any questions you have, you feel free to text me. I'll try to answer as much as I can. But these are the concepts or reports we have, which you can sit and explore, and output will come. Believe me, output will come. Okay, Dow is nothing but deal of the week. Okay, if no other questions, I know everybody is on unmute mode, they can speak, but if no questions, we can end it. If not, we can take 1 or 2 questions more. Okay, looks like no further questions. All of you have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll see you probably in the chart, and Tuesday excited for the market open. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Janet. It was a great session.
Thank you.